And hello, one and all, and welcome to my Hell in a Cell 2016 predictions and preview video. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the entire Hell in a Cell 2016 card. I'll give you my full thoughts and opinions and the prediction for each of the scheduled matches. As of now, we have a total of 8 matches announced for the show here. We have 7 on the main show and 1 for the pre-show. So, let's get into my overall thoughts first as we are heading into Hell in a Cell this weekend, this Sunday, October 30th. My overall excitement for the show, it really hasn't been much of any. I mean, if you all know my thoughts on last week's edition of Raw, it was a piss-poor attempt at a go-home show. I mean, it was a piss-poor attempt for any episode, let alone trying to build excitement for a go-home show. For your pay-per-view. So I just think WWE really dropped the ball once again heading into the build like they did for Clash of Champions for Hell in a Cell. Now, there are a number of matches on this card that could turn out to be good to really good, but the thing that really hurts this show once again is the lack of build. It's just logical inconsistencies, just not really too invested in many of the matches on this show. And the ones that I am, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know where the Raw brand is headed. To me, I just haven't been excited for Raw, since, that episode on the draft. I mean, there's been hints of, the potential, goodness, good quality from the Raw brand, like when Kevin Owens won the Universal Championship, Triple H returning, Sasha Banks winning the women's title, but we've only been getting these little moments, and they just haven't been able to put together enough consistently good episodes and in a row, and I just don't see that trend continuing. So therefore, to me, this feels like another episode of Sunday Night Raw. It just doesn't to me feel like a pay-per-view, and I have my gripes with them having 3 Hell in a Cell matches in one night. I think that's way too much. In my opinion, less is always more. I'd rather there only be 1 Hell in a Cell match, or 2 at the max, but 3, that's really, to me, overdoing it. So we'll see what they do. But without further, let's just take a look at the card itself. So we have a 6-man tag team match featuring the Cruiserweights to open up Hell in a Cell. On the pre-show, Cedric Alexander, Lince Dorado, and Sin Cara versus Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Ariel Daivari. Should be a good 6-man tag. It's just another thing that's really been lackluster on Raw is the way that they really have not utilized the Cruiserweights like we thought they would coming out of the Cruiserweight Classic. The match quality itself has been somewhat toned down. We really haven't been, getting those little vignettes about the guys themselves, understanding why these guys are fighting, who they are, trying to establish them to a larger audience on the main roster. It's just like They hardly get any time, and like I said, last Monday, we only had 1 Cruiserweight match on a 3-hour show, so I don't know what the hell they're attempting to do with the Cruiserweights, but should be a good match, but it's just like, just feels like the Cruiserweight division isn't really being utilized the way that it should be. It should be the high-flying, high-octane, great action, gets the crowd going. I mean, why couldn't they open up a Raw with a Cruiserweight match? I mean, they still haven't done it. And I just think it's a missed opportunity. So I know these guys will go out there and they'll put on a good match, but it's just like, I'm really losing hope for this Cruiserweight division on Raw. I'd rather have seen it if I've known this was the way they were going to treat it. Rather have seen it on SmackDown or frankly on NXT, because at least I know on those 2 shows it would be booked properly. Speaking of being booked properly, we're going to see Bayley versus Dana Brooke for God knows how many times they've fought. This is a feud, if you can even call it that I really have no interest in seeing. I love Bayley, but the way that she was treated last Monday on Raw, I don't even want to really get into that. The fact that she got boring chants, and it wasn't her fault. She had to go out there and do a stupid arm wrestling contest that nobody wanted to see against Dana Brooke, and it was really, really bad. I mean, that just goes to show you how bad creative is on Raw when they make somebody as lovable as Bayley get boring chants and we want wrestling chants. I mean, that was rough to see. So I don't know. I just feel like Dana Brooke really should go back to NXT and work on her in-ring work and just overall polish her character, because I just feel like she isn't ready for the main roster. So, I mean, it is what it is. If I had to pick a winner of this match, Bayley, and yeah, Bayley's going to win, and I don't know what they do with her next. It's just like, man, has she lost a lot of momentum since she came up to the main roster. Maybe they should have just kept Bayley in NXT or put her on SmackDown. I would have loved to have seen Bayley on SmackDown if I knew they were going to have her in an arm wrestling contest here on Raw. We have Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass. I really think Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows need to pick up the win here. I think Enzo Amore and Big Cass will certainly be fine. They won't really lose too much momentum if they drop a match here to Anderson and Gallows. So in the long run, my little fantasy booking down the line, I think you have Anderson and Gallows be victorious here. You have them, win the Raw Tag Team Survivor Series elimination match for Raw and, it's Survivor Series, Raw versus SmackDown. And then you have them beat the New Day at Roadblock there. You've given the club a number of wins and rebuilt them up to credible levels. You should be booking them as dominant, badass, credible threats, that just put the entire tag team division on notice. Look, we're coming and we're going to come after those tag titles again. And this time we're going to take them for good. And I think you should have them beat the New Day at Roadblocks. I think in the long run, Anderson and Gallows, they desperately need a win especially on pay-per-view. When was the last time they got a win on pay-per-view? I can't answer that question, but that's a good question. When was the last time Anderson and Gallows won a match on pay-per-view? Because to me, it's been a long time. So they need the win more so than Enzo and Cass. We have TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick for the Cruiserweight Championship. Should be a good match, solid match. I like the match these two had on Raw several weeks ago. I think if you give these guys at least 10 to 12 minutes, they can go out there, tell a good story. I like, this is one of the few things on Raw that I've actually been enjoying, the build-up between Kendrick, who, desperately wants to dethrone TJ Perkins as Cruiserweight champion, and Perkins, who is disappointed in the route that Kendrick has taken, using the dirty heel sneaky tactics. So should be a good match, but I think TJ Perkins successfully retains his Cruiserweight championship against Brian Kendrick, and hopefully it'll be a good match between these two. We have the New Day defending their WWE Raw Tag Team Championships versus Cesaro and Sheamus. Now, the problem with this was we saw the match this past Monday on Raw, so I don't know why they bothered to give away the exact same match on pay-per-view 6 days before the pay-per-view. It's a major gripe I have with them. It's like, why give away your pay-per-view matches for free on TV if you're just going to do them again on the pay-per-view? To me, it loses interest. Doesn't feel special. So seeing as how Cesaro and Sheamus won on Raw, to me it only makes sense, 50-50 booking, here it comes, that New Day will retain their tag team championships. So even Stevens was going to rear its ugly head again, and from here I don't know what you do with Cesaro and Sheamus. I'd love to see Cesaro get drafted to SmackDown, the brand that he should be on, because I just really feel like on Raw he's dead in the water. They have no long-term plan of promoting him to the main event scene where I feel that he should be at, or at least being built up to that level. So, if they're not going to beat New Day for the tag titles, which would surprise me, because I still think New Day are going to beat the Demolition's record, which would put them on the route to holding the championships till December. I just don't see Cesaro and Sheamus winning the tag titles. It'll be a good match, but again, we already saw the match on Raw, so match loses its luster when you've already seen it. So, yeah. We have Roman Reigns versus Rusev. Roman Reigns defending his United States Championship inside Hell in a Cell. You guys all know how I feel about this feud. I feel it's just really been lackluster up until this point. Just the creative for it, the storyline behind it. I mean, to me, I just haven't feeling it. It could have been a good feud if it had better writing, better direction, but it's just been like Reigns won the United States Championship at Clash of Champions, And him and Rusev had a match the next night, and then it's like, Rusev with his family picture album, it's like whatever, photo album. It's just like, I just really haven't been enjoying this feud. And they're going to cap it all off inside Hell in a Cell. Roman Reigns, to his credit, last year, him and Bray Wyatt went out there and had a really good Hell in a Cell match. So I know that these two are capable of going into Hell in a Cell and having a good match. We'll just see how the match itself will be played out. Most likely, I see this match opening the show. You have one match, Hell in a Cell match, open the show. Obviously, one close the show and one in the middle of the show. At least that's how I see it going down. So I'm predicting Roman Reigns, retains his United States Championship. He obviously ain't going to drop it after just beating Rusev last month at Clash of Champions. So I see him going on to hold the United States Championship for a good while. We then have Kevin Owens defending his Universal Championship inside Hell in a Cell versus Seth Rollins. Like I said before, this should be a good match between two of the best in WWE. But the problem is, I just feel that this feud, just doesn't warrant being inside Hell in a Cell. It just, to me, there really isn't that much animosity and pent-up rage and frustration. I mean, hell, Rollins is calling Jericho Sparkle Crotch, for God's sakes. And it's really been more of between Jericho, Rollins, the list, and, the heat, if there lack thereof of any, between Rollins and Owens. Rollins has been, making threats towards Triple H and Stephanie. I mean, Owens has kind of been, de-emphasized and kind of pushed off to the side. I mean, with all this stuff, there really hasn't been that much warrant to me, looking at what they've mapped out storyline-wise, for this to be inside a Hell in a Cell. I think this could have been maybe just a triple threat match, Rollins, Jericho, Owens, or maybe with Jericho's special guest referee, or another type of stipulation. But to me, this match, did not warrant being inside the cell. So, while it'll be a good match, I just, I see Kevin Owens successfully retaining his Universal Championship against Seth Rollins. And then finally, we have Sasha Banks versus Charlotte, the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. Really looking forward to seeing what these two can do inside of a cell. Certainly be a major opportunity for both of these women. And I have to say, I really hope that these two are the main event for this show. I don't see why they shouldn't be. If there was any time really to have the women go out and close the show, I mean, it's not one of your big 4 pay-per-views, so I don't think it'll cause any harm in the long run, and it will just be a night. They definitely do. Sasha and Charlotte do deserve to main event a pay-per-view. Now, while I have not liked the fact that they haven't been playing up the fear that one another should have for going into Hell in a Cell, while the storyline has been lacking in that aspect, I still think these two are going to go out there and attempt to steal the show. And it's going to be in Sasha's hometown of Boston, so another perfect opportunity to put these two inside of Hell in a Cell. And my prediction for this one is Sasha Banks. I'm predicting Sasha Banks will come in and walk out as women's champion, Raw Women's Champion. She just won the title. I don't think they're just going to have her lose the title, that fast. She only won it like 3 weeks ago on Raw, so to me it wouldn't make sense for her to lose it again. I think that she'll finally go on and have a lengthy title reign. How I would book it is I'd have her face Bayley at WrestleMania, and that's where she drops the title. But that's a long ways away. Like I said, my prediction is Sasha to retain, and I predict that women will main event a WWE pay-per-view for the first time. So that's my thoughts and opinions, guys. My predictions and previews for Hell in a Cell 2016, the Raw brand exclusive pay-per-view. Guys, let me know down in the comment section below what your predictions are for Hell in a Cell, and what matches are you most looking forward to and least looking forward to. Let me know all that down below in the comment section. Remember to please click on my like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel. And be on the lookout for my live video review for Hell in a Cell that should be up around 11:15 p.m. on Sunday night. So I'll give you my full thoughts and opinions on that. And stay tuned for any further video content coming soon to this channel. And that is it, guys. I will see you for my Hell in a Cell review. So until then, guys, take